Hey, welcome to the Lion and the Bear. I'm here with Logan Huff of Diamond State Fly Co. We just recorded a podcast out on the White River, and I did not push the microphones in all the way, so none of the audio was recorded. We had a great morning. Caught probably 20 to 30 fish or something in the morning. It was a really good time.
Yeah.
Some good browns and some good rainbows.
A couple nice browns, yeah.
Yeah, a couple nice browns. I mean, not the biggest you've seen, but the biggest that I've ever caught. So it was a good morning. Logan, you do fly fishing. Like this is your world. I mean, you're out in the water hundreds of days out of the year. How did you get into fly fishing?
So my dad put a rod in my hand at a really young age, and so it's kind of like I never knew any different. And we've always been like a super outdoorsy family. Grew up doing a ton of fishing, but as soon as my dad felt like I could use a fly rod, he put one in my hand and pressured me quite a bit to pick it up. And we would take family vacations that evolved 100% around fly fishing. And so it's always just kind of been a part of my life. It's just always been there.
And you were telling me earlier, because your dad has since passed, that this is still a connection that you kind of have with your dad in a way that you get to connect with those memories and stuff. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So my dad passed away when I was in high school. And from pancreatic cancer, and because he's the one that taught me how to fly fish. It like when he was alive, it was how we bonded. Just the two of us, we'd go fishing together. And then after he passed, I kind of took a break from it. Like I don't know if it was just I couldn't handle to do it since my fishing partner wasn't there anymore or whatever. But then in college, I had a cousin that was really starting to get into fly fishing, and he kind of, I guess, sparked that interest back in me. And since then, it's now like a way for me and for me to still feel like I'm like, I guess, bonding with my dad's memory or whatever. I know that he'd probably be quite jealous of what the opportunity that I have today to do this for a living and do it full time. I mean, it's just I have to pinch myself every once in a while just thinking about, like, this is my job, and I get to spend it out on the gorgeous river doing what I love and doing what he loved to do. And so it's just like a cool connection that I still get to have with him and share with people.
So you had that connection with your dad, but as a dad yourself now, that you have a connection on the water with your own son, and then you have another son in the womb who's going to be born here anytime now, right?
Yeah. So I've got a 4-year-old boy, and then another boy that'll be here in February. And I've got a little picture of my dad fly fishing hanging in my office at home, and my son will come in and be like, "Oh, that's Papa David," and he's fishing. And so, like, he's already started to, like, kind of piece together, like my dad taught me how to fly fish, and now I'm getting to share that with my son. And so even though my son will never, like, actually get to meet my dad, it's a good way for him to kind of get to know who he was without ever actually getting to meet him.
Yeah. You get to go out on the river. Your son, has he ever caught any fish?
Yeah, so he caught his first fish on a fly rod, and out of the boat on the river. But we have a creek here called Dry Run Creek that kids under 16 can fish, or if you're physically disabled, you can fish. And so I've taken him down there several times, and we bought him one of those, like, Mickey Mouse little fishing poles at Walmart.
Like a push button pole or something?
Yeah, the little Zebcos, and bought him one of those, and he tried to fly fish with it because it's all he's ever seen me do. And so I bought him a little kid's fly rod, and we took him down to that dry run, and he had caught several little rainbows, and for a while there he was scared of the big fish. He only wanted to catch the little fish. And I said, like, he'll grow out of that eventually. And so just recently we took him down there, and he actually ended up catching about an 18-inch brown.
It's a big
And
fish.
I had to help him a little bit, but yeah, it was a big fish, especially for at the time he was 3. So he pretty much did the whole thing by himself, though. He just, had I not helped him hold the rod, the fish would have probably taken the rod with him.
That's awesome. So you weren't always a fly guide and a fly shop owner. How did you get into this world? Like, what were you doing before you made life on the river your full-time occupation?
Yeah, so I spent 7 years as a special ed teacher, 5 of those years up in Missouri, and then 2 years down here in Arkansas. And I just kind of got to this point where I felt like I wasn't really doing what I was here to do, and I really don't know how to explain it other than just like I didn't feel like I was in the right place, and it just kind of started to look at other options. And I've always been like an outdoorsman, I guess, and so really wanted to like work in the outdoor industry, and loved to fish. So we came, or I saw a job opportunity down here, and I grew up close to here fishing. And so when that job opened up, I told my wife, I was like, just let me interview for it. Let's see how the interview goes, and then we'll make some decisions. Well, they tried to hire me on the spot in the interview. So I told them, let me think about this and talk to my wife. And it was one of those things that the doors just kept opening, and never really had a door close on this. And so as long as the door was open, I'd go through it. And we moved down here, and I started guiding pretty quickly in like on the summers and on the weekends. And after about 2 years, it became pretty obvious I was going to have to make a choice on do I stop guiding or do I stop teaching? And well, I wasn't going to stop guiding, so I stopped teaching, and I really I haven't looked back. I mean, it's been a lot of fun.
So your intro into guiding kind of had a little bit of a catalyst moment for you, because you came down here, you bought a boat that was it like a Facebook Marketplace or something, or where'd you buy this boat?
Yeah, it was just a Facebook Marketplace boat, and it was a fine boat. Like it got the job done, and it was really my first like legit boat that I ever owned personally. And I fished out of it for just a little bit, and then probably 2 months after I bought it, my cousin actually sent me a post that there was a tournament for anyone that owned like that specific boat. And I was like, well, shoot, let's enter that tournament. And we fished the tournament, and ended up winning a brand new boat. Like it was like basically the exact same boat, but it was brand new. And never thought that I would be in a position to be able to have a brand new boat, just to be able to afford a brand new boat. And so that kind of like kick-started, I guess, like my guiding career. It just like upgraded my boat like way faster than I ever thought that I would. So it's one of those things, like my dad used to always say, almost like there's a higher power. And I talked about those doors always opening, and it was just one of those moments that I was like this is crazy. Like I come down here, decide that I kind of want to guide. I grew up down here fishing, so I already knew the river and knew the waters, but then just to be able to have those doors open and me be able to get into a boat like that quickly, just because I want it, was pretty awesome. Yeah,
that's remarkable. Yeah, God's hand's definitely been on that. And the fishery that you're guiding on, the White River and the North Fork River, they're pretty unique. They're all season long or all year round. Tell us a little bit about the fisheries that you're working on.
Yeah, so we're one of the only places in the country that you can trout fish 12 months out of the year. We have a lot of guides that come here that have guided all over the country, all over the world even, and they decide to settle here because you can guide 12 months. It's not a seasonal fishery. Now we definitely have our busy season that's kind of like March through October or so, but you can guide here year round. And So it's unique in that, and because of that, we actually see our fish get maybe a little bit bigger than some other places because they're not going into like this state of like in Colorado when the rivers start to get really cold, the fish, they get like real lethargic. They don't eat near as much. They're not expending very much energy. It's almost like a state of hibernation, kind of. And so we don't really experience that here. And so our fish are eating all year long. There's a plethora of food available for them, and so because of that, we see pretty big fish, and it kind of has made this into the world-class fishery that it is.
Yeah, caught a couple big fish this morning, right?
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
like a 19-inch fish.
19-inch brown and 18-inch brown. Another brown that was pushing 18, and then a handful of smaller browns and a bunch of rainbows.
Have you ever had a client miss as many fish as I missed today?
Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Trout are tricky little fish. They know exactly what to do to not get hooked. So yeah, it happens.
What are some of the biggest fish that you've caught personally and then professionally as a guide that you've helped clients get into the boat?
Yeah, so personally, all my buddies and I, we joke about how I'm cursed. I've caught a lot of fish that were in that 23, 24 inch range, and it just seems like personally I can't break that 24 inch mark, and it's weird. I mean, it's a weird thing. You think somebody that spends this much time on the water and catches as many of those as I have had the opportunity to would be able to break that, and it's just one thing happened. Like I've hooked a bunch of fish that were really big, and they'll get wrapped around a log or something and break off, or the hook just comes out, and like just dumb luck. So that's kind of why all my buddies like to give me a hard time about being cursed. However, I have had quite a few clients break 24. I had a client catch 28. That's been the biggest. I've helped several family members catch fish over 24. Yeah, it's, I get to spend a lot of time in the rower's seat rowing the boat and not near as much time fishing, so I don't have quite the opportunity as I do, as some of my clients do, to catch those big fish. But yeah, it's always fun when you see somebody catch that fish of a lifetime, and know like they spent years trying to find that fish, and they finally got it, and you got to be a part of it.
We're in a pretty special place in terms of trout fishing. I mean, the town of Cotter, Arkansas, right next door on the other side of the river, has dubbed themselves,
right
really,
there.
there's the bridge right there, has dubbed themselves the trout capital of the USA. What makes this place special in terms that it would be, people are calling it the trout capital of the country? Like, what's so unique and so fantastic about this fishery?
Yeah, so like I said, we've got the year-round fishery, and so I do think that's a big part of that. But the whole community is pretty much based around trout fishing. There's several places to stay right across the bridge there that like every room is like themed with trout fishing, and if you just take a drive down through downtown Cotter and see all the brown trout murals all over town, and drive around and look at the houses and see how many houses have riverboats in front of them, and how many houses are lived in by guides, and it doesn't take somebody very long of being here to see how much the whole community revolves around trout fishing. Combine that with the world-class fishery that we have, and at least to me, it's pretty easy to see that this really is trout capital USA.
Trout capital of the USA, and it draws outsiders in. I mean, you've told me about some clients or some people you've seen out on the river. Who are some of the people that maybe others would recognize that you've seen out here at Trout Capital USA fishing the White River?
Yeah, so I've had clients from all over the world. I've had a client from Sweden that came out here and fished.
Fish in Arkansas?
Yeah, fish in Arkansas. I've had a client from Australia that came out here and fished, and a few clients from Africa. So I've had clients from all over the world that, like I said, are literally coming to the States to trout fish here. They make several stops along the way, but and then like we'll see celebrities out here occasionally. I had a guy wave at me one day on the river, and kind of thought he looked familiar, and he got 200 or 300 yards past me, and I realized that it was Luke Bryan, the country singer. So that was pretty cool, getting to see him out here. And then, like, I grew up and watching fishing on TV, and watching Bill dance. And, you know, he always wears that Tennessee hat, and going up the river, and you see some guy out there fishing with a Tennessee hat on, and you look over, and sure enough, it really is Bill Dance.
It's Bill Dance
Fishing there. So yeah, it's always cool getting to see those, and you know, we've had some random TV hosts from different shows kind of fish. One in particular actually fished through the shop earlier this year. Man Eats Wild is that the host of that show fished through the shop. So yeah, we see some celebrities out here every once in a while, and it's always pretty cool getting to hang out with them for the day.
That's pretty awesome, man. So you get all these people come in, but I want people who are listening to the Lion and Bear right now to know that fly fishing is something that's accessible to them. I mean, maybe they've seen a river runs through it, or they've seen these more romanticized ideas of fly fishing, and it's different than a spin cast or a bait caster. Who can fly fish? Is it open to anybody?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I have a lot of clients that have literally never fly fished before, and you know, on a full day trip, I'm probably going to spend the first half of the day just teaching them how to fish, and then the second half of the day really focusing on fishing itself. But you know, that's part of the joy for me for guiding is teaching people, and I guess that's kind of the educator background that I come from, but yeah, you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to be. You know, one of the stigmas is that you have to be rich to fly fish, and that's simply not the case. You definitely can come here and book a trip and not know a thing about it, and we're going to be able to put you on fish and teach you how to do it. And so, with teaching people, I always say there's kind of a bell curve to learning it, and one of the best ways to kind of shorten that bell curve is to simply book a guide. He basically gives you a one-on-one teacher to teach you how to do it, and we always cater our trips to whatever we need to do. So whether you've been fly fishing your entire life and are really good, I can cater a trip to that. Or if you've never even seen a fly rod before and it just sounds fun, we definitely can cater trips to that.
Where would you put me on that scale of what you just mentioned after seeing my performance this morning?
You're actually pretty decent.
Thank you, Logan. I appreciate that.
Put you right in the middle group there.
Okay, yeah. That's good. It's not the top, but it's not the bottom either.
We were able to catch some fish on dry flies, so
that's right.
In November, nonetheless. So that's a feat in and of itself.
Yeah. Absolutely. So somebody books a trip through you or through Diamond State Fly Co. What can they expect once they pull into the parking lot until they're leaving the parking lot at the end of the day?
Yeah, so we meet our clients right here at the shop. It's a good opportunity to grab, like, if you need sunscreen for the day, or if you forgot your rain jacket or something, we have all that stuff. So good place to just grab those, or maybe some souvenirs or something. And from here, we head down to the boat ramp, and there's probably a dozen different boat ramps that we'll use periodically throughout the year. The closest one is right below the bridge, just right there. And the farthest ones are probably 20-25 minutes away. And so just depending on where the best fishing is going to depend on where we want to go. We provide everything that anybody would ever need to fish. They're always more than welcome to bring their own rods if they choose to, but we have plenty of rods available. And we provide lunch on full day trips. So you really you don't have to worry about anything. You just show up. You do have to buy the state fishing license, but we can do that here at the shop as well. So just show up and we'll take you fishing. You guys are a full service provider, huh?
Yeah, full service.
Now tell me about this place where we're sitting, because it's a beautiful back deck that we're recording on right now. But your time in Cotter your time in flipping and on the river has not always had the fly shop included in it. This is a brand new venture for you. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Diamond State Fly Co. Yeah, so myself and my business partner, we worked together for a couple years at a different fly shop in town, and we both just kind of left because we wanted to pursue guiding full time. And so we opened an outfitter together, and didn't have any intentions on opening a fly shop. But we ran the outfitter for about 2 months, and then just kind of randomly thrown the opportunity. And so this building that we're sitting on the deck, it was on the market for about a year before we ended up buying it. And we just kept joking about how it'd make such a good fly shop. And they ended up dropping the price, and we jumped on it. And 6 months later, here we are. We're here and have a full service shop with everything that you would ever need to fly fish, and especially here locally. And it's just like, I mean, it's like a dream come true. I mean, I still, like, every morning walk in the shop and just can't believe this is where I'm at and what I get to do, and I'm truly blessed in that aspect to be able to do this.
It's pretty awesome, dude. One of the things that I really believe is that wild places are sacred spaces in the formation of the masculine soul. I would love to know from you, who spends hundreds of days out on the river, how being on the river so much has shaped you as a man, as a father, as a husband, your experience out in the wild.
Yeah, so it's I hate to keep using the same phrase, but like pinching myself. It's when we were on the water, even just this morning. I mean, we're catching fish. We're the beautiful cliffs, and it's kind of still fall, so there's lots of different colors of leaves up on the cliffs, and there's eagles flying and blue herons flying, and it's like you can't paint. Like, nobody could paint a better picture of what it looks like to just like be sitting in creation out there, and so it's. Being able to experience that every day, like, there 100% is like a spiritualness to it, and so it's just, I love getting able to sit out there and feel that connection and share that connection with people. When you spend 8 hours in the boat with somebody, in a tiny little boat with somebody, you get to talk about a lot of stuff. You get real comfortable with each other. So getting to share that with clients is a lot of fun, and yeah, you just feel at one with the environment out there, because you see it every day. Like, you notice, like, when the smallest little thing changes, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's beautiful out there, dude. I was thinking of Psalm 23 when we were sitting out there. David writes that God leads him beside still waters. And that water's moving a little bit, especially when the dam gets open and the floodgates open. But it's just peaceful, man. You just feel restful out there on the water. Except when you hook a fish and you can't grab the line and you're trying to get that fish back in, but it's fun. Yeah. It's exhilarating.
It's hard to be stressed when you're out there, and just like any job, there's days that are worse than others, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. Well, dude, thanks so much for taking us fishing this morning. Thanks so much for sharing with us about the sport of fly fishing. Thanks for sharing with us about the White River and all that's going on in Trout Capital USA. Really appreciate it, and I'm hopeful that people will take you up on fishing and come out here and join you on the water.
Yeah, appreciate it.